Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You know, Super Wildcard Weekend really wasn't all that super, with 5 of the 6 matchups resulting in major blowouts. The only exception, that Rams and Lions game in Detroit. We're hoping for better matchups and closer games in the NFL Divisional round. I think we will get just that. We've got 4 fantastic matchups on here, guys. Any of these teams can advance to their conference championship. As we know, no team is safe in the NFL playoffs. And as promised, we're here to predict all of these games, all NFL playoff games from the wild card all the way to the Super Bowl right here on the channel. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks. Look, if you want these spread picks for these divisional round games, for these championship games, for the Super Bowl, go check it out over on thegridironexpert.com on our website. The link for that is down in the description below. It's never too late to sign up for those spread picks, guys. It's a full year-long subscription, full 365 days. So you buy now, you're getting it through the playoffs next year for NFL. And if you buy the college package, you get it through the entire college football season. So never too early, never too late. Go sign up. The link for that down in the description below, especially if you want spread picks, guys, that are hitting over 67% in our best bet section for NFL games this year. Yes, 67% in our best bet section. Go check it out. Again, the link down below. So let's dive into these games. Let's dive into these divisional round matchups. We'll start in order. The 2 Saturday games here, the 2 Sunday games here. Texans at Ravens in the AFC kicking things off. This is an intriguing game to me. You know, can the Texans continue their magical run? They were not supposed to be this good this year. First-year head coach in D'Amico Ryans, rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud. They aren't supposed to be in the divisional round of the playoffs. They were not supposed to beat the Browns as badly as they did. It was like 45-14. It was a really, really impressive performance. So you got a great quarterback battle here. You know, get the young comer in C.J. Stroud versus Lamar Jackson, an MVP quarterback trying to finally get to his first Super Bowl. He's never even been to a Super Bowl. Stroud throwing for over 4,100 yards and 23 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson over 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, having rushed also for over 800 yards. So this, to me, is truly a battle between the Texans' passing offense, led by C.J. Stroud, that's averaging nearly 270 passing yards per game, against a Ravens secondary, giving up just 218 passing yards per game. That's battle number one. The other battle is the Ravens' number 1 rushing offense, averaging 156 rushing yards per game, against the Texans' 6th-ranked rushing defense, giving up just 96 rushing yards per game. Something's got to give there. Does the Baltimore secondary shut down C.J. Stroud? Do the Texans force Lamar Jackson to win this game solely through the air? Those are the 2 things you've got to watch out for here. Ultimately, though, the Ravens will win this game. I look at the Ravens. They've got a week of rest. They're at home. Baltimore is not an easy place to play. I do not think they win this game by more than 10. Keep in mind, these 2 teams met back in week 1. The Ravens won just 25-19. That was a 16-point victory. But a lot has changed between week 1 and now the second week of the playoffs. C.J. Stroud's got significantly better. The Texans' defense has gotten significantly better. And I will say that if Houston wants to win this game, they've got to play defense like they did against the Browns, where they had 2 pick sixes, 4 sacks, and 11 tackles for a loss. I don't think they can replicate that exact same defensive success. Baltimore does not win by more than 10, but the Ravens do advance to the AFC Championship. Packers and Niners. Here we go. The Packers are maybe the most dangerous team in these NFL playoffs. They've got nothing to lose, and they're playing like a team that's got nothing to lose. Kind of like the Texans, they weren't supposed to be here. First year without Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love comes in. Just a playoff berth probably would have been good enough and considered a success, but going on the road and snapping the Cowboys' 16-game home winning streak in dominant fashion, well, that's just a cherry on top. That was an unbelievable performance by Green Bay, and Jordan Love is playing out of his mind this year, over 4,100 yards and 32 touchdowns on the year. He alone, Jordan Love's talent and arm strength alone, will keep the Packers in this game. But they're now playing the number 1 seed in the NFC, a 49ers team off a week of rest, loaded with talent. Hate him, love him, whatever you want to say. Brock Purdy's a pretty solid quarterback, over 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns. He's got one of the best running backs and pass-catching running backs in the league in Christian McCaffrey with over 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. He's got Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, all those players with at least 890 reception yards, and they've got a top 10 defense. Kind of like I said with the Texans here, if the Packers want to win this game, the Packers have to play defense like they did against the Cowboys, where they just absolutely annihilated Dak Prescott. What they have, like a pick six or two, multiple turnovers, held them to just 32 points, but the majority of those coming in garbage time. That's what the Packers have got to do if they want to beat the Niners, and I just don't see them having enough to do that. The 49ers win by no more than 14, but they will advance back to the NFC Championship game. Moving on to Sunday. Got half the championships are set. Who will the Niners play in the NFC Championship? The Buccaneers or the Lions? Let that sink in. The Buccaneers or the Lions will be in the NFC Championship game. The Buccaneers or the Lions will be one win away from the Super Bowl. How awesome is that? Didn't anyone see this coming in the preseason? No, you didn't. Don't tell me you did. The Buccaneers in year one without Tom Brady. Baker Mayfield comes in, a solid quarterback, a veteran quarterback, but no one thought he'd get them to this point, even in a weak NFC South. They torched the Eagles in their wild card round, beating them 32-9. The Buccaneers have now won 6 of the last 7 games. Mayfield was electric, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. The Lions, on the other hand, finally get to host a game in Detroit last week, host a playoff game in Detroit. They win it. They come through, beating their former quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Now they're getting to host another game in Detroit, hosting the Buccaneers. They won their first playoff game since 1991, did it in front of their home crowd. It was a really emotional and special time. The Lions playing really, really good ball. I mean, Jared Goff has been phenomenal. Their running game, the dual threat with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, which people questioned that draft pick last April. He's really panned out for the Lions, ended up showing what Dan Campbell knew what he was talking about. They've come through. And that Detroit defense, not as bad as people think. That Lions defense is salty, guys. And here's the thing. The difference in this game for me comes down to the line of scrimmage. Comes down to busting some kneecaps, as Dan Campbell would say. You look at the Buccaneers' offensive line. It's not very good. The Bucs have allowed 44 sacks this year. 4 of those came last week against the Eagles in that wild card round. The Lions' defensive line, they have 43 sacks on the year. 11.5 of those in the regular season coming from Aiden Hutchinson. 2 sacks from the team coming last week against the Rams. The Lions' defensive line will be the difference maker in this game. They will be enough to pressure Baker Mayfield, force him into some mistakes, force him into errant throws, force the Buccaneers into second and third and long situations. The Lions have the offense to match the Buccaneers. They have the defensive advantage. They have home field advantage. And the Detroit Lions will be advancing to their first NFC Championship game since 1991. And they will have a shot to make their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Epic story between both these two teams. Probably my top game on the docket this weekend. We've got Detroit advancing to play the 49ers in what should be a very fun NFC Championship. And then finally, guys, Chiefs at Bills. We're really excited for Bucs-Lions. Thanks for all these games, but Chiefs-Bills has the makings of another instant classic, right? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. People are starting to call this the next Brady Manning type of scenario here. And I wouldn't go that far yet. But Mahomes and Allen have played in some classic games in recent years, one of which came back in the AFC Championship game back in 2020. Chiefs won that one. 2021, the Chiefs won that one in the AFC Divisional, winning 42-36. That was the famous 13-second game where it looked like Buffalo had it won. Chiefs ended up winning the game anyways. And then even earlier this year in the regular season, the Bills went into Arrowhead and won 20-17 after Kadarius Toney's offensive offsides call. Travis Kelce laterals the ball back. Looked like the Chiefs were going to pull off an improbable win and gets called for the offsides. Offensive. Very rare to see that happening, but he was lined up incorrectly. So we're in for another treat here, guys. Keep in mind that, all these previous playoff matchups and even the past few regular season matchups have been played in Kansas City. So now, for the first time ever, in case you didn't know, Patrick Mahomes will be playing in his first playoff road game. So the Chiefs finally having to play on the road in the playoffs in a Buffalo environment is very, very difficult, very cold. Not that the Chiefs are going to care about that. But obviously a Bills team that's hungry to finally beat the Chiefs. Regular season wins are great, but it doesn't matter if you can't beat them in the postseason. And I think the Bills finally do. I think the home field advantage plays a major role in this game. The Chiefs offensively are not what they used to be. I would give the offensive advantage to the Bills here. I give it to Josh Allen. I give it to Stephon Diggs. I give it to James Cook. I give it to what the Bills are doing. This Bills team, guys, has won 6 straight games. And after a very inconsistent 2/3, almost 75% of the season, they have started to figure things out. And they will continue to do so at home. Chiefs might own the defensive advantage, but it's the crowd that will come through clutch in the end for the Bills. And the Buffalo Bills will advance to the AFC Championship game, where we believe they will take on the Ravens. So, yeah, we're picking all the home teams. We get it. I know crazy things can happen in the playoff. Would not be shocked to see one of these games result in an upset, but we're siding with it. Ravens and Bills, AFC, 49ers, Lions, NFC. And, of course, we'll be breaking down those AFC and NFC championship games individually next week. Individual prediction videos coming out for those as we inch one step closer to the Super Bowl. So there you go, guys. NFC divisional round picks. Leave yours down in the comments below. Let's get ready for another great weekend. Hopefully one that, from a competitive and entertaining standpoint, is better than Super Wildcard Weekend. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure you can check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks, guys, the spread picks for all these games down in the description below over on thegridironexpert.com. Guaranteed winnings there, 67% in our best bet section for the NFL, over 63% in college football this year. If you want guaranteed winnings, this is the place for you. Never too late, never too early to sign up. Again, the link down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.